Track announcer Matt Dinerman here, live from the Oaklawn Today studios. This is Out of the Starting Gate with Matt Dinerman, presented by Oaklawn Park. We have a lot of ground to cover, a lot of material to go over, so let's get right to it. Obviously a big week, Arkansas Derby week here. I'll be taking you through a solo spin of this week's edition of Out of the Starting Gate. Let's get right to it. What you might have missed, we had two very fun stakes races that we saw last weekend on Saturday afternoon. Let's go over the winners. We start with the Purple Martin Stakes for 3-year-old fillies, and you take a look at this replay here. Kimchi Cat from the Tom Amoss barn gets the job done with a 73 buyer for this victory. 4 lengths ahead at the finish. Rafael Bejarano was aboard for trainer Tom Amoss. I'm imagining we're going to see this filly in Kentucky, maybe possibly the 8 Bells Stakes on Kentucky Derby weekend at Churchill Downs, a graded stakes. That'd be a good spot for her. She would be making her second start off a layoff. She was coming off a break here in the Purple Martin and looked very good and really seemed to improve from 2 years old to 3, was making her 3-year-old debut in the Purple Martin Stakes. That was Kimchi Cat, the first of 2 stakes winners. And then our feature race, the Grade 3 $500,000 Essex Stakes, goes to Red Route 1, the deep closer for Steve Asmussen. Keith Asmussen was aboard for the ride. He received a 98 buyer, did Red Route 1 for this victory here. A stablemate to Red Route 1, Unload, really kept the pace quick, along with Patriot Spirit, a Florida shipper who was coming off a runner-up finish in a stake here just a couple months ago. And we saw Red Route 1 with the perfect trip from well off the pace. He got the right setup and went back to winning form. His form had tailed off this year for his last few starts, but he got a confidence booster, back to winning ways, did Red Route 1 in the Grade 3 Essex. I would imagine at least the Oaklawn handicap is on the table as a possible next start for Red Route 1. The Chestnut by Gunrunner here, a Winchell Thoroughbreds homebred. That's what you missed. We saw Kimchi Cat. We saw Red Route 1 get it done. Now we get to look forward to the stakes races. The rest of this program will be Arkansas Derby Week, Racing Festival of the South, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday racing, 35 races in 3 days, and Friday's card kicks off things at 12:30. Let's talk about the 2 stakes on tap in an 11-race program on Friday afternoon, and you take a look at the field for the first of 2 stakes on Friday. The Lapa Terrell Overnight Stakes featuring filly and mare routers here. Miss Hebrides, an up-and-comer in a pass show, comes off a nice win. She is one of the ones to beat in here for Kenny McPeak, and she takes on Ingest My Heels and Penoir, who come off of runs in a stake race last time out, similar to this type of condition here. Tripolina is also one that I think is a little bit interesting, but I have questions as to whether she's best routing. I personally feel that she's better sprinting, so Tripolina is one that will get play for trainer Chris Hartman, but I do question whether she wants to run this far. It's a good field of 10 in there. We go along to the Temperance Hill Stakes, which is our feature race on the day. One of my favorite stakes of the whole meet, in fact. It's a 1.5 miles on the dirt, a field of 11 signed on here, and Mask Parade, your defending champion, faces Grade 3 Place Time for Trouble. Stakes placed earlier at the meet, Sir Greyland, and recent dominant allowance winner Lambeth, who comes off a very nice win a few weeks back for trainer Joe Sharp. The main contenders likely to get the most play in the Temperance Hill, which goes as race number 10 on an 11-race program on Friday afternoon. So we have 2 stakes on Friday afternoon, and then we roll into Saturday, Arkansas Derby Day. 14 races on the program. A great job by not only our horsemen that are willing to run, but our racing office led by Racing Secretary Pat Pope, and it's a fantastic card. Throughout the day, we're going to have a lot of wagering options. We'll go over those in a little bit, but let's start through race chronological order. We're not going to go through all 14 races here, but I'm going to start with a Denny's Clocker pick of the week, which comes in race number 5, a first-time starter, an Arkansas-bred maiden special weight sprint. We've got 2 divisions of this race. So many entered, we split the race. And in this 5th race here, I am picking number 8, Nikolai, on workouts alone. Let's take a look at this workout of the gate, going a 1/2 mile in 49. The only negative is right at the start of the work. He's inside of a workmate, did not break fantastic out of the gate. So hopefully in the afternoon on Saturday, he'll be able to break out of the gate nicely here. Nikolai is a half-sibling to Benny Kay and Susie, too. He's a very fast sprinter herself. And this horse here made up a ton of ground, passed the workmate easily and was on a hold around the far turn. If you take a look at the far turn, you'll see this horse was trying to get out just a little bit green, but he was keen. He had a lot more left in the tank. This horse can run for sure. And we also saw another morning, he went 59 and change. So he's got some natural speed. I think he's got a lot of ability for an Arkansas bred especially. And I think Nikolai for the Tommy Vance barn, number 8 in race number 5 on Saturday, my clocker pick of the week. I think if he breaks and he runs to his ability, he's got a great shot to win on debut. Right after our clocker pick of the day makes his 2025 debut and first career start, we go to race number 6, which is the first of 6 stakes races on the Arkansas Derby Day card. It's the $250,000 Matron Stakes, the biggest race for filly and mare sprinters we have here. A field of a half dozen are in this race, so not a huge field size, but every single filly in this race or mare is a stakes winner, and the defending champion, American Band, she tries to retain her title here in the Matron Stakes. We're going to take a look first out here at a replay from Benedetta, who is number 1 in this race. She drew the rail, lost by a narrow margin last time out in the Carousel Stakes to Justique. We're going to see Justique as a major player in the Grade 1 Madison at Keeneland next time out. So she lost to a good runner here. Here she is in the red, white, and blue. I thought Benedetta ran a really good race. She was coming into this with 4 consecutive victories. Yes, she lost that win streak, but she did everything but win the race. I thought it was a very good effort, and I think she should run well in this race. Benedetta for Kaleem Shah, who owns Steve Asmussen, the trainer, and Flavien Prat, who's going to be back aboard today. Flavien, along with Jose Ortiz, Brian Hernandez, those 3 big-name riders coming here, along with Luan Machado from out of town to ride on Saturday on Arkansas Derby Day. Another runner that is figuring to get play as an Arkansas bred, Holland Ice, who comes off a win of the Down the Dusty Road Stakes. She won easily. She got everything her own way. She was 1-5 that day, something like that, maybe 2-5, and she won very easily, but she got things her own way, like I said, and I think this time around she's going to have to run a little bit better against Open Company, but she did win an Open Company race in December earlier at the meet, so she can run effectively against Open Company, but this is a good class test for the Saffie Joseph Jr. trained Holland Ice. One more runner we have to mention, the 3-5 morning line favorite, Almost Gone Rocket, who for the Brad Cox barn comes off a 99 buyer and a stake win at Saratoga, the Jersey Girls Stakes. We haven't seen her since then, and she returns to the races in 2025 right here at Oaklawn for Little Rock native Frank Fletcher for Fletcher Racing Operations. She is one that broke her maiden here at Oaklawn first out last season, and she is undefeated. Very talented filly, lightly raced, but coming back to the races for a barn Brad Cox that really knows how to get their horses fit and ready to go off these breaks. We go to the next stake race of the day, race number 8. It's the Grade 3 $500,000 Oaklawn Mile. Here's the field. A field of 8 are entered in this race. And this is a good field, especially when you look at the main contenders. You've got graded stakes winners in here, horses that have back class. And we'll first start talking about Banishing for the David Jacobson barn. This horse last time out was routing. He had run some very impressive triple-digit buyer performances in sprints, and the question was last time in the Razorback, going around of ground, could this horse route as well as he could sprinting? And the answer was a decisive yes. He lost the race by a narrow margin. Here he is on the replay here, down on the inside of horses, and Banishing was just nosed out by Alexander Helios, who got a great bob. First Mission was third. Banishing cutting back in distance just a little bit today to this mile distance. That should suit him very well. And David Jacobson's got a good one here in the barn and Banishing. He is certainly one that will get play. Another runner in this race, back to a mile he goes, is the Wine Steward, who was on the Kentucky Derby Trail last year, and he was coming off a layoff, making his 4-year-old debut in the General MacArthur Overnight Stakes here at Oaklawn earlier in the meet. And if you take a look at this win, a game victory over Patriot Spirit, who ran in the Essex last week, ran 4th to Red Route 1, with not a great trip given that he was dueling on the lead. So I think he could have run better that day. But going back to the Wine Steward, he was determined in victory here, had some fast works for Mike Maker leading up to this race. Similar work pattern for this coming Saturday in the Oaklawn Mile. The Wine Steward with Juan Hernandez that afternoon gets the job done. And he figures to be a legit player in the Grade 3 Oaklawn Mile this year. Finally, the 7-5 morning line favorite, Saudi Crown. He ran 5th in the Pegasus World Cup last time out, so by all intents and purposes, this is a drop in class for him, but it's still a stern field that he has to face nonetheless. He won the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby as a 3-year-old, and he's been a little bit on the inconsistent side. He's won a couple of minor stakes as an older horse, but he is one looking to get a graded stakes win as an older horse, and again, he is the 7-5 tepid choice on the morning line over Banishing, who is 9-5 on the morning line himself. That's the Oaklawn Mile, a Grade 3. That's race number 8 on the program. We go to race number 10, which is the next stake on our program. It's the $145,000 Eclipse Stakes, a 6-furlong event, start of the All Stakes Pick 4 races 10 through 13. We'll dive a little more into exactly how many Pick 4s and Pick 5s we have on Saturday in just a little while. And this is a field of 10 in the Eclipse. I think Wendelson's certainly the one to beat. He's number 5 in this race, as you can see by the graphic here. He was second best to Booth in an overnight stake last time out. And Booth came right back to win the Grade 3 Whitmore in very impressive fashion. Got a 107 buyer for that victory a couple weeks ago with Eric Asmussen, who, of course, we interviewed last week on Out of the Starting Gate. So make sure to tune into that. Go to Oaklawn's YouTube page to find that interview if you haven't watched it already. Wendelson, he is the horse to beat in there, 100%. There are some hard knockers, some pros that have run very well here at Oaklawn and are entered back in that race. Wendelson, though, he has had a very good meet for trainer Chris Hartman. He's hit the board a couple times, placed twice in stakes races, so he has yet to win a stake here at Oaklawn, but he's looking to get the job done, and it looks like he's up against a field that he can do just that. There's no Booths in a race like this. So Wendelson's the horse to beat in race number 10, the Eclipse Stakes, a 6-furlong event. Race number 11, the next race here I think is a very good race, the American Pharaoh Overnight Stakes, 1 mile and a 16th, start of the late Pick 4, races 11 through 14, that sequence. And the first horse we want to mention in here, we'll take a look at a couple different replays, but we'll start with the rail horse, number 1, Bishop's Bay. He's never run worse than second. He's run 7 times in his career, 4 wins, 3 seconds from 7 lifetime starts, and he won an allowance race in decisive fashion last time out here at Oaklawn for trainer Brad Cox. Easy to spot him. He's well clear of everybody else. He's the winner in this replay. And Bishop's Bay is one that seems to be rounding back into good form. As a 3-year-old, he got beat by Arcangelo, the winner of the Belmont Stakes, and of course Arcangelo came back to win the Travers later in the year. So Bishop's Bay has always been well meant for trainer Brad Cox. Freshens up since that last January race that we just saw in the replay here. That was in January, so he's coming off a little bit of a freshening here, but he's been working very well. If you go to oaklawn.com/racing/workouts, you'll see his last workout with Muhima, who we're going to see in the Ashland of Grade 1. She's on the Kentucky Oaks Trail, 3-year-old filly that actually ran here at Oaklawn and did not win the Honeybee, was 4th best behind Quiet Side, but Bishop's Bay absolutely annihilated Muhima in this drill, so he is doing very, very well in preparation for this stakes run. I also want to mention Ben Duke for the Bill Mott barn, wheeling back in just a few weeks here, a couple weeks in fact, just 2 weeks after a runner-up finished to Disarm. Here's the replay here. He's in the red colors, and he's going to run second with Rafael Bejarano. This horse ducked to the inside, was trying to get in a little bit, so Rafael just let him get to an inside path, was second best to Disarm, who's a stakes caliber horse. I mean, he has run well in Grade 1 races in the past. So Disarm, he's one we might see in the Oaklawn handicap. Could see him also in the Ali Sheba on Derby week. But Disarm, a quality horse, and Ben Duke ran second to him. Ben Duke, a Grade 2 placed runner. He ran second in the Suburban Stakes a number of months ago last year, and Ben Duke is one that I think could be a major player also for Frank Fletcher, the Little Rock native. One more runner to mention in this race who I think is very interesting, Maycox Bay for the Godolphin team. Maycox Bay ran 3rd in the Grade 3 Mineshaft. They've always thought highly of him. He's never won a stake. He's looking for that first stake win. He's hit the board in a couple of graded stakes, and trainer Mike Stidham relaying that he believes that this horse could get a good confidence booster, a win in him, if he could win this race here. The American Pharaoh was entered last week in a Grade 3 at Louisiana at the Fairgrounds, was also entered here in the Essex and scratched out of both to run in this American Pharaoh overnight, and I think he's got a good shot. That's Maycox Bay, number 7. That's the American Pharaoh overnight, of course named after the Arkansas Derby winner and Triple Crown winner, American Pharaoh. And if you're here on track, head on outside. right behind me here, and you will see the American Pharaoh statue. Let's get to race number 12, folks. One of the two big ones here, the $750,000 Grade 2 Fantasy at 1 mile and a 16. 10 fillies entered in this race here, and we take a look first of all, at the runner who I think is the one to beat, not the morning line favorite, but I think she's the one to beat, Quiet Side, who won the Honeybee for trainer Johnny Ortiz. Here's the replay. Jose Ortiz was riding last time out and hops back aboard this filly. Of course, Jose, not a surprise. He's got a number of live mounts on Arkansas Derby Day this year. Quiet Side stalked the pace. It was her coming out party. She had placed multiple times in Grade 1 races, hadn't been able to get the job done as a 3-year-old. She ran second twice, or rather she hit the board twice in Grade 1 races as a 2-year-old. But Quiet Side in this spot here finally put it all together in the Honeybee. Second start off the layoff. She didn't have the greatest trip in the Martha Washington, one race before the Honeybee, but I think she might have needed the run too, and I think this race really set her up well for a peak effort third off the break in the Fantasy. She will be looking for more Kentucky Oaks points. Of course, the winner of the Fantasy receives 100 Kentucky Oaks points, and other minor award finishers also receive points as well. But she's the one to beat, has a great running style, should be stalking the pace for the Ortiz stable. Take Charge My Lady from the Kenny McPeak barn didn't run a step in the Honeybee. She didn't break that well and just never got involved, but she's back here, has been training at the fairgrounds since that last start. She won the Martha Washington and defeated Quiet Side that day, but she got everything her own way on the lead. Do I think she's better than last time? Absolutely, but she will need to completely turn the tables off that no-show last time out in the Honeybee. The morning line favorite at 8-5 is Simply Joking in this race for trainer Whit Beckman, coming from Louisiana, and Simply Joking is undefeated. She's only run twice. She's 2 for 2. She won the Fazig-Tipton Silver Bullet Day Stakes after a maiden win. They've always thought well of her. Had to give her some time after, I believe she came up with an illness and a couple minor problems, so they had to wait on her. They kept training her, and eventually here she is ready to get some more points on the Kentucky Oaks Trail. That's Simply Joking. She'll be number 7 in this race. There's one long shot that I think is a little bit appealing, not only because she ran well last time, but also you look at her pedigree, and she's bred to be a good one. That's Princess Aaliyah. She's number 9 in the Fantasy. Let's take a look at this replay from just a couple weeks ago. Trainer Dwayne Lucas conditions this $1.2 million sale purchase. She's a granddaughter to the great Winning Colors. So there's a lot of pedigree here to suggest this gal has some ability. She finally put it all together in this race, going a mile, the short stretch. She's going a little bit farther, 1 mile and a 16th this time. She'll be with Nick Juarez, who was aboard 2 weeks ago, and he's back aboard this filly here. Princess Aaliyah, very well bred, and she rounds out the runners we'll be talking about in the 10-horse Fantasy. The big one, of course, is race number 12. Actually, I think it's race 13. That's right, race 13. There's so many races on Saturday that I've lost count. Race 13 is the $1.5 million Arkansas Derby. Let's take a look at the field of 9 here. Really just some very interesting horses when you look at the main contenders. They've all got very interesting storylines, and we're going to start here talking about Cornucopian, who's number 9 in this race. He's the most peculiar storyline of all as you take a look at his first and only race. That's right, he's only run 6 furlongs on Rebel Day, got a 101 buyer with Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard for this dominant win. This was just a sensational effort from him. Showed a huge kick. His gallop out, very impressive. Looks like he can go a bit farther. He's been purchased for over $1 million as a younger horse by Into Mischief, 7-5 on the morning line. We haven't seen a horse do something like this in a major prep since Taba in 2022. Sprinted 6 furlongs, first out, won, then went to 1 mile and an 1/8 and won the Santa Anita Derby. He did not run well in the Kentucky Derby, but Cornucopian, if Bob Baffert is shipping this horse a second time out here with just 1 race going in the Arkansas Derby, that tells me that they think the world of this horse. He has a lot of obstacles to overcome. There are other horses that are more seasoned than this horse. Obviously, he's shipped a couple times, so he has had to take the long route and the quick route, really just with 2 starts to try to get to the Kentucky Derby. But Cornucopian is 7-5 on the morning line. Town is there to be a superstar, but whether this is too much for him too soon, we're going to find out on Saturday afternoon. John Velasquez, he's another one I forgot to mention. He's in town to ride on Saturday, and he will be aboard cornucopian for this race. Irad Ortiz Jr. opting to stay in Florida, which of course they've got the Florida Derby over there. Irad's got a lot of mounts in Florida this Saturday as well. So John Velasquez riding cornucopian for the Baffert camp. Second time out for cornucopian, and he's running in a big race, the Arkansas Derby. Let's talk about one of the coolest horses in racing, and especially the coolest horse on the 3-year-old Kentucky Derby Trail. His name is Cole Battle. He won the Rebel Stakes last time out after a Smarty Jones victory. He's 4 for 4 on a fast dirt track. We might get some rain this weekend. It's a possibility. And if that's the case, Cole Battle will be racing over the mud. But Cole Battle ran a huge race here, sat off a fast pace, ran past Matticat Road, a Bob Baffert trainee who was the runner-up. We're actually going to see him in the Florida Derby. But I thought Cole Battle, he's one of these horses that just, he runs, he shows up. Sandman, the gray horse here, he's the one that runs third. He is also running in the Arkansas Derby. And Cole Battle, little horse in the mornings, he never wows you, but he is a cool horse. He's a 7-figure earner already, and a son of Cole Front here. Certainly will get a lot more respect than he did in the Rebel and the Smarty Jones Stakes, both in which he did not go off favorite. I think Cornucopian's going off favorite in this race, but I think Cole Battle is the one that a lot of people would love to see get a win and move on to the Kentucky Derby for Lonnie Briley and Juan Vargas. Two blue-collar horsemen that have done an A-plus job with Cole Battle so far. Of course, Sandman, we talked about him. This horse, 2 starts ago in the Southwest, broke terribly, almost went down. Christian Torres did a great job to stay on, and he actually ran on for second behind Speed King, who's also in the Arkansas Derby. We'll talk about him in a second. But I think Sandman, since that run, everybody's really been on him. Came back, ran a no-excuse third over a track that was a bit playing to speed more than closing types. But this horse here, he's getting a new rider on Saturday. Jose Ortiz will be riding Sandman for the first time, a son of Tappet, purchased for 7 figures. A lot of people, I think, are going to try to play him again. He looks like a horse that's only going to get better with distance. Speed King, Publisher, 2 more runners we have to mention. Publisher, he's a maiden, but he ran 4th in the Rebel last time out. He's back in this race, still has yet to win a maiden special weight, yet to win a race. And Publisher will be coming from off the pace by American Pharaoh. He's another one, should get a little bit better as the distances go farther here. He ran on well enough, but was just 4th best behind Cole Battle, Sandman, Matticat Road in the Rebel. And Speed King, our Southwest winner, he ran well in the Southwest, but came back in the Rebel, tried to stalk the pace for the first time in his career, just couldn't get it done. Faded around the far turn and turning for home. He's looking to rebound for Triton Thoroughbreds and Ron Moquette, Rafael Bejarano back aboard. 2 other horses, just quickly to mention, we'll show this replay here. Best Friend Rocket in First Division, who come off allowance races. They were 1st and 2nd, and Best Friend Rocket here in the Frank Fletcher Red gets the job done over First Division, who broke slow, came with a run, and sort of hung a little bit, was 2nd best to Best Friend Rocket as they hit the line here, and both runners narrowly apart. They are going to be prices in the Arkansas Derby, but they are ones that have decent pedigree. First Division, of course, a half sibling to a couple of stakes horses. Best Friend Rocket by Curlin, purchased for a lot of money as a youngster. So those 2 seem to be going in the right direction leading up to the Arkansas Derby of 2025. A great rendition. That'll be race number 13 on a 14-race card on Saturday afternoon. We're going to get real quick to the wagers that are available, specifically the pick 4s and pick 5s on Derby Day. We have an early pick 4 races 2 through 5. We have a middle pick 4 races 6 through 9. And all stakes pick 4 races 10 through 13, and then a late pick 4 races 11 through 14. We also have 3 pick 5s on Saturday. The early pick 5 races 1 through 5, a middle pick 5 races 5 through 9, and it says on the PPs our late pick 5 races 9 through 13. We have 14 races on the day, but races 9 through 13 will be the late pick 5. The Racing Festival of the South concludes on Sunday with 10 races. First post 12:35, of course, Saturday early first post 11:20 a.m., Friday 12:30, Sunday 12:35, 2 stakes on the 10 race card. And let's take a look at the field for race number 7. It's the Hot Springs Stakes, a 1-mile event here, and a field of 8 are signed on to go. A few supplemental entrants that weren't originally nominated have entered into the field. I think the most intriguing horse in this race, or at least the one that most people are going to really pay attention to, is Gaming for the Bob Baffert barn. He's number 7 in this race, was the runner-up in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He won the Grade 1 Del Mar Futurity at 7 furlongs as a 2-year-old, so this horse certainly has back class. He was a no-show, but he had a bad trip in the Southwest the last time we saw him. He shipped here to run in that race. And Gaming, he basically broke a little bit slow, was down on the inside, and then had to check sharply and basically threw up his hooves and said, I've had enough of this, and that was that. Bob Baffert, in a Daily Racing Form article, indicated he doesn't feel that this horse likes an inside position. He's a little bit claustrophobic. Good news for him. He's in post 7 of 8 this time. John Velasquez is going to stay the night to ride Gaming on Sunday after his mounts on Arkansas Derby Day. I also want to show you a replay of a horse that I'm very intrigued by. Clever Again, number 5. Jose Ortiz, another one. He's going to ride on Sunday as well. He's got only one mount, and it's Clever Again for Steve Asmussen in this race. Let's take a look at his Rebel maiden win. It was on Rebel Day, of course, and he was very impressive here. A $500,000 sale purchase by American Pharaoh out of a Galileo mare. That, to me, says turf. He should love the turf, but being by American Pharaoh, also dirt, would be in the pedigree, suggesting that he could run well on dual surfaces, and boy, did he run well in this maiden win. Was close to the pace, over a track that really played to speed, but this horse powered home for a decisive win, and I'm very intrigued to see how he does. He only ran once at Keeneland in a baby race. I believe it was in April, and this horse ran 4.5 furlongs, lost by a narrow margin to Dream Away, a Next Out Stakes winner. Clever Again took time off, first out off a layoff, just second lifetime start, going 1 1/16, had fast works, and just crushed the company. So I think there's room for improvement. I think he's a stakes caliber horse. Wouldn't surprise me if he got the job done in this Sunday's race 7, the $200,000 Hot Springs for 3-year-olds going a mile. One more stakes race to go over, race number 9, the $145,000 Southern Hospitality Stakes, led, in my opinion, by Miss Martini for the Steve Asmussen barn. She was the runner-up in the Dixie Belle Stakes behind GW's Girl here at Oaklawn, and we're going to see GW's Girl in the Grade 2 Beaumont at Keeneland on April 6th for trainer Greg Compton. Miss Martini, one that broke her maiden very, very nicely here 2 starts ago, was just unlucky to run into a buzzsaw in GW's Girl, a multiple stakes winner who really hasn't done much wrong, and I would imagine she is going to be a very nice sprinter, I believe, down the road. I'm not so sure GW's Girl wants to go too far, but she's got a lot of quality for the Compton barn, their stable star there. And I think Miss Martini is facing an easier field in the Southern Hospitality. Another one people will play as a maiden winner, Trouble in Love for Florent Giroux, who's riding for trainer Brad Cox. There's another jockey. He'll be here this weekend for the Racing Festival of the South. Trouble in Love was not really much of a player for the win in her last start, an allowance race at the fairgrounds. She's looking to pick up some black type for Stone Street Stables, Team Cox, and Mr. Florent Giroux in the Southern Hospitality. That's race 9 of 10. That'll wrap things up here, folks, for another edition of Out of the Starting Gate. We had a lot of ground to cover. We got it done, and we've got great racing all week long, Friday through Sunday. Make sure to go to oaklawn.com for a lot of good content. If you're still interested in purchasing tickets Friday and Sunday at the track, if you're in the area, can come on out. We still got plenty of seats available. There's going to be a lot of people out here on Arkansas Derby Day. Very much looking forward to it. Good luck with your handicapping. Good luck with the playing. Win some money. And have a great week this week on Arkansas Derby Week, the Racing Festival of the South. This is track announcer Matt Dinerman signing off. We'll see you next week.